Some 3.5 million tourists flock to Jakarta each year, and when the Istora is rocking, it feels like every one of them is right here. Welcome to day 2 of the 2025 Indonesia Open, one of the most eagerly awaited events of the whole season. Been staging this tournament since way back in 1982, prize money nudging $1.5 million US. Magnificent arena. And our thanks to Azara Ramadhanti for bringing on the HSBC BWF World Tour Finals trophy. That will be played for in Hangzhou, China, just before Christmas. Here's our lineup then, starting with back-to-back mixed doubles. Ferdinansyah and Ramadhanti will have all the home support, and they're likely to need it against new Singapore Open champions Puavaranukroh and Paewsampran. Then we'll see the Indian pair, Kapila and Crasto, take on the number 2 seeds Chen and To, the Malaysians yet to make a final this year. Thai youngster Pornpicha Chowikiwong has drawn the short straw in the women's singles. Chen Yufei won in Singapore, and she's on a 23-match unbeaten run. Men's doubles to follow. Ong and Teo desperately out of form. They haven't won a match since January. Another tough test awaits versus defending champions here, Liang and Wang. Before we switch back to women's singles, Michelle Lee demolished Tomoka Miyazaki in straight games only 6 days ago. So what has the 7th-seeded Japanese learnt against a woman 15 years her senior? 5 more matches after that in the company of Jill Clark and Steen Pedersen. Always a treat to see the young Frenchman Alex Lanier, and plenty of doubles, including crowd favourites Alfian and Ardianto. 10 matches live coming your way on Court 1. We also have coverage on Court 2 today as well. Here's the mixed doubles draw then. This is the 3rd quarter, and we are concentrating on the 2nd match there on your screen. An Indonesia-Thai affair, so no prizes for guessing who a very partisan crowd here will be siding with. My name's Trevor Harris, alongside me is Bobby Griffin, and Puavaranukroh and Paewsampran, Bobby, will come here feeling great, presumably flush full of confidence after stunning display in Singapore.
Yeah, they really were terrific last week. They're on the back of a string of victories as well over the course of the last 6 months or so. And since Puavaranukroh and TotalEnergies, who I think had high sights on the Olympic Games and got to the quarterfinals in Paris, and you know, they've changed partnerships, and so have the Indonesian pair, you know, with fairly new partnerships, but they're quite well established now. Both pairs have had a good run of tournaments, but like you say, the Thailand pair of Puavaranukroh and Paewsampran, yeah, buoying with confidence. They've got to be heavy favourites today.
Yeah, I'm curious actually to see Ferdinansyah playing with Ramadhanti. I saw Ferdinansyah partnering with Gloria Wijaya a bit earlier in the year, and maybe it didn't quite gel, and so, you know, that's changed around a bit. So we'll see how they get on. No prizes, as I said, for guessing who this crowd are going to be siding with. It's only day 2, and there were times yesterday the roof nearly came off, and it was probably only a 3rd full. So what it's going to be like at the weekend is anyone's guess.
We could barely hear our own voices yesterday, and that is the beauty of the Istora. Terrific atmosphere here, year on year. It's one of the favourites, one of the tournaments where aspiring young national players are all desperate to play a Super 1000 event, one of the Grand Slams, if you like, of badminton, and yeah, it's just a treat to be here.
Still have 3 courts in play today. We are concentrating here on the court 1 action, obviously. Love it is on the head-to-head in favour of the Thai pair. All 3 meetings actually this year. Most recently, that one that was just on your screen, which was a final actually, final of the Thai Open, which the Thai pair won in straight games in less than 3/4 of an hour. Let's give you some information then on some of these players. Wouldn't take too much stock of that ranking of 30. We know Ferdinansyah was a former top 10 player with Gloria Wijaya, who I mentioned earlier. They also got to the final of the Taipei Masters. Ferdinansyah and Ramadhanti, as well as the Thai event I was telling you about. Been together since pretty much the start of the year. Ramadhanti, of course, very successful in women's doubles as well. She's won 5 World Tour titles on the women's doubles tour. And on the other side of the net, the very familiar figure of Dechapol Puavaranukroh, 28 now. Has been top of the tree with Tera Tanachai, as Bobby was telling you. Of course, won a World Championship with her. And 17 World Tour titles. But they've won 4 as a pair, including, as well as Singapore last week, the Super 1000 Malaysia Open in January, and the Thai Masters a month later. So they really are having a great year, those two. Man in the chair for this one is David Graf von Schwerin from Austria. And from Switzerland, Renat is the service judge for this opening match. Time is just approaching 9:10 in the morning here in Jakarta. Early starts every day through until Saturday, where it's going to be a noon start. Just a little bit of advance warning, by the way, on Friday, the schedule of play is slightly different. So we start at 9 o'clock, we have 2 matches, and then there's a bit of a break, and we'll reconvene at 1:30. It's just on Friday only. And we'll have coverage on Court 2, available today, tomorrow, and on Friday as well. So you won't miss a trick here. Another packed day of action. And apart from the prize money that I mentioned earlier, $1.5 million US near as damn it, there are a whole raft of ranking points available, 12,000 of them for the winners of the various disciplines here. Extremely important. Puavaranukroh and Paewsampran, pretty experienced pair, Bobby. I don't think the crowd being on their opponent's side is really going to bother them too much here this morning.
No, I don't think so. They're very, very used to that. I mean, you mentioned the Super 1000 event that they won in Malaysia in January. That's a big crowd too at the Axiata Arena, and you know, they weren't quite as experienced as a partnership at that stage, so they'll be very used to that. And yeah, tough job for the Indonesians, I think.
The announcement you can hear is the umpire on one of the other courts. So David van Schwerin just waiting for his turn to introduce these 4.
Ladies and gentlemen, On my right, Dejan Ferdinansyah and Siti Fadia Silva Ramadhanti, Indonesia. And on my left, Dechapol Puavaranukroh and Supisara Paewsampran, Thailand. Siti Fadia Silva Ramadhanti to serve, to Dechapol Puavaranukroh, level, play.
So here we go, Ramadhanti getting us underway, and not as she would have wanted.
Service over.
I think that happened yesterday, actually, in our first match. There was a service error on the first point.
Yeah, nervy times, and playing in front of your home crowd, especially at the Istora. You can understand them needing to shake off a few nerves. That's brilliant, isn't it?
They had that knack in Singapore, Bobby, of making the court on their opponent's side look vast. And that was a very early indication. They work the two opponents into one area of the court, and it leaves that amount of space, which they utilise perfectly.
Yeah, and particularly Dechapol, he's just a terrific player. Not the tallest of players, but he's lightning fast. He's so powerful and strong, moving sideways across the court.
1, 2.
And terrific racket skills and good strength in the wrist. It allows him to be able to find space on the court, which a lot of other top players even are not quite as able to do with such great effect.
Yeah, he's only 5'7", but absolutely terrific doubles play. That wasn't his best shot, though. She'll put those away all day.
2-all.
Yeah, it's a good layoff, and I just don't think he connected. I don't think he was looking for the net. I think he wanted to lift that out.
Well, they're up for it this morning, no question, those two.
Yeah, that is a monstrous smash.
3-2.
Was past Paewsampran before she even knew what was happening.
The accuracy impressed me as well. He was trying to go across the body and to keep it in the court as well as he did. He is a strong fella with a big hit.
Service over. 3-all.
On the line, or just inside it.
4-3.
Amazing how often that's an effective shot right down the middle. A very late decision. Got away with. Oh, no, they didn't. Wow. She'll miss one of those in every 100.
5.
What a bizarre point.
What a mess. That really was just crazy. Taking this almost off the floor. Getting the better. I'm not sure why Dechapol wasn't looking for that shot.
I think she thought he was just going to leave it, and then wasn't really ready when he decided to play it so late.
No excuse for Ramadhanti, though. She really should have finished that. Well, that might have... Well, I thought that might have caught the line.
I did too. I'm surprised they're not challenging there. Both pairs have
5.
2 challenges per game, and they'll keep the challenge if they're correct. It might have been worth a look. Well, it's obviously contagious.
5-all.
Not quite his free-flowing best just yet. He was trying to create the angle. The simpler shot would have been to play the straight smash or into the middle, but trying to go across the body of Ferdinansyah there and didn't quite time the shuttle.
5.
Well, the same can be said in this rally. That it really is bread and butter for a player like Puavaranukroh.
Service over.
Once again,
6.
Puavaranukroh creating a shot that found the opponents positioned in a way where they really do anything about it. That's gone long.
Service over. 7, 6. Out. Service over. 7 all.
Ramadhanti still struggling with that short serve.
Service over. 8, 7.
And whilst it's easy to say from up here, Paewsampran needs to change the direction of the shuttle there. Lifting it straight back in the direction it came from is makes the attack so much more comfortable for the Indonesians.
Touch up, show him where.
Well, I think even if she'd made that, Ramadhanti would have cut it off because she was halfway across the net. Just watch this here. Watch Ramadhanti. She's off.
Yeah, it was good play, good position, and I think the fact that she was moving into that sort of net area at the tee, that's lovely. That's really well placed.
Service over.
Yeah, and that was possibly the reason for the error in the previous point, but this, good save there, but too much work to do to fill the gap.
I tell you what, it's fascinating the way Ferdinansyah and Ramadhanti really taking the attack to their sixth-seeded opponents here.
10.
It's not as proactive as it usually is, the defence from the Thai pair. Just relifting to the back line against a man like Ferdinansyah. It really isn't the tactic. We saw in the very early stages, those first few points, where they were trying to find the gaps, whipping the shuttle cross-court, making the Indonesian pair stretch in defence. It's been a bit passive the last couple of points for the Thais.
Super shot from Paewsampran there. That really was a silky touch from the Thai.
9, 10.
Yeah, composure is probably the word that sums that up. I mean, she was moving fast, and then to play a slower shot takes skill and bravery.
Thank you. Bayan City.
So, final point for the mid-game interval. Hardly been more than a couple of points in it at any stage so far. Lovely piece of disguise.
11.
So having trailed for much of the early exchanges here, it's the Thai pair who have the slenderest of leads as they break for 60 seconds.
There's been a few rallies here which have really been world class, but there have also been a few where you just get the feel that it's day one for this match, you know, first match on court for them. They've had a few days break, different conditions. It's a little bit passive at times, and as they grow into the week, some of the better rallies, I think, will be
Court 1, 20
more of the
seconds.
mainstream.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Eleven, 10, play.
Well, it was a class serve that set that up.
12, 10.
Yeah, well, sometimes perfecting the basics can be underestimated, and that was a really good example. Ferdinansyah, though, really cannot afford to miss from the back line with these high lifts. He's been given plenty of time so far on many occasions.
Yeah, once he got within that range, Puavaranukroh never going to miss.
10. Yes.
Yeah, quality and hard work. Placement of these smashes. Gets him the really short one here. Look, he's mid-court. And that's not coming back very often.
Service over.
Ends a run of 5 straight points.
11, 14.
A few mistakes from Puavaranukroh so far. He'll want to eradicate those as and if they get through to the latter stages of this event. Can't afford those kind of errors.
12,
Certainly against
14.
stronger opposition, which we'll see later in the week.
Yeah, and we're going to see the number 2 seeds next match on in the mix, Chen and To. That's very good lead.
13, 14.
So points being won in bunches really by both pairs at the moment, and that's not altogether uncommon in mixed doubles.
Service fault called too high.
Well, first time that we've had a call for a service fault. You have to serve
13.
from below 115 centimetres, called by the service judge Rennerant.
Yeah, and that's 3. That's a lovely shot. That's 3 poor serves for Ramadhanti as well, which again, at this top level, you cannot afford.
Yeah.
Well, there's a challenge here. I'm not sure this is going to work. That looked to be comfortably on the line, but Hawkeye being asked its first question of the day, so we will double check. No problem at all.
Challenge unsuccessful. 1 challenge remaining. 16, 13.
That might have been a case of, you know, we've got 2 challenges, we're getting into the latter stages, we may as well use one at some stage. Brilliant recovery. Paewsampran was down and out. And too many of those from Deshapol. All the hard work was done. They got 14, back on the attack here and
16.
squandered this shot. Again, it was the backhand. That, though, was incredible.
Yeah, surprising miss from Puavaranukroh. Back within 2 then, the Indonesians.
Clever shot from Ferdinansyah, going cross, laying it off softly.
15,
Dragging
16.
him out of position. That was top class from him because it was actually easier to just hit hard again. Gets himself that opportunity to hit the cross smash.
Out.
Well, they're their own worst enemies on the serve this morning so far, aren't they?
15.
And in a tight first game, that could well make the difference.
Yeah, it's not. There's been flashes of brilliance actually throughout this opening game, but there have also been service mistakes. There've been shots where the players look in a comfortable position and miss the court.
Okay, thank you.
It's a sort of, whilst it's day 2 here, it's their first match out, and this opening game feels like a fact-finding mission, really, more than anything.
Makes it look so easy,
18,
but he knows
15.
exactly what he's doing. It's actually, it's partly obviously the technique to play the shot, but it's more the idea of what the shot to play is.
It's the vision, isn't it, on many occasions. He sensed that's where the gap was. It was also a gap that caused problems for the pair because they both left it for each other. So not only is it a space on court, but it's also the middle
Service over.
in certain respects.
16, 18.
Yeah, he's a wily player, Puavaranukroh. That was a bad miss, though.
Yeah, if you can sow a seed of uncertainty in your opponent's minds as to which of them is going to play the shuttle, you're kind of halfway there.
Service over. 19, 16.
Well, that was route 1, except for the fact that the Thai pair were out of rotation. It was Paewsampran's initial smash from the rear court, and backed up by Puavaranukroh at the net. That's something they've always done, or rather, he's always done very well. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say that was the bite to bit, wasn't it?
Yes.
17,
Traditionally in mixed, the male
19.
player is controlling the rear court, and you know, you want your female partner at the net, but Ramadhanti and Puavaranukroh almost changed the textbook. That is nice. Straight down the line again.
18,
They kind of changed the
19.
rules almost. They almost play it, or had played it, out of rotation so effectively that it became something that top players around the world would need to develop in their game, and he really has led the way in that respect.
Oh, that could be costly.
Serve's
That
over.
really could. A great chance there for Ramadhanti.
20,
That's the second shot
game
like that
point,
she's put in the net.
18.
And it's created 2 game points now for the Thais.
It's, I don't want to place fault on one player, but she's missed 3 serves, or 1 was a fault. She's missed 2 kills at the net. And, you know, you're 2 points behind, facing game points. And against such tough opposition, you just can't afford
Thank you.
to make those simple mistakes.
It's long, and that will work nicely for the Singapore Open champions of last week. First blood then to Puavaranukroh and Paewsampran, 21-18 in just shy of 20 minutes on court.
Exciting opening game. There were flashes of brilliance all round in that one. I think we can forgive them a few, you know, not quite feeling 100% either in movement or shot quality. It's day one for them. But it was an exciting opener.
Terbiasa sih baik, baru kamu kunci dikit, jangan tahan satu dikit, baru cambuk. Kan kamu tak ada pecahan, kamu nggak jatuh juga apa-apa. Kunci lagi Ramadhanti bagian sini ya. Udah main sekarang ya. Sekarang dari terima servis, terima dia siap bagi colong turunin aja nggak apa-apa panjang. Kan dia datang tinggal waktu. Karena dia selalu ada main begitu, jadi siap selalu ya. Dia colong gua turunin, gua siap lagi. Sekarang dari terima pasti banyak yang mau angkat dia kan.
Top 1, 20 seconds. Top 1, 20 seconds. Coaches leave the court. Sit in. Sit in. Coach, leave the court. Second game, level.
So, Ferdinansyah and Ramadhanti playing catch-up here.
Serves over. 1 love.
I mean, even though they lost that first game, they were pretty competitive throughout. I don't think they'll be completely downhearted.
I'm actually surprised they haven't had a few better results. They've had a bit of a mixed bag, varying success over the last 6 months or so. Yes, they made the final of the Taipei Open, but if I'm looking at it, they didn't really face any really tough opposition, you know, anybody from the top 10. Yes, they made the final of the Thailand Masters, and in fact, they had to beat Wijaya and Kacharianto, Ferdinansyah's former partner, along the way to get there. But again,
over. 1,
they weren't playing against players of this quality throughout the tournament, and it seems to me they just need to tighten up the basics a little bit. And if they can do that, and if they can get to sort of 18 all in games instead of being 2 points behind quite often against pairs somewhere around the top 10, you know, they'll sneak a few results and they'll go around further and they'll get a bit of luck at times, and it doesn't seem that far away, Trevor. I think, like you said, there's potential there.
Yeah, and I mentioned at the start, obviously, that Ferdinansyah's been inside the top 10 before with Wijaya.
He's still 14, in fact, with Wijaya, which is quite surprising, considering they haven't played for a long time.
Well, that's a pity from a tie point of view, because they did very well to survive a net cord earlier in the point.
That initial net shot from Ramadhanti was really top draw. It was played perfectly. Paewsampran had the chance there, though.
Superb reactions from Ramadhanti. Well, just the kind of start they would have wanted.
It's lovely. Again, composure. He hits so hard, you have to back up in defence to expect the power, which then opens the forecourt. And he found that lovely with a... Oh, that's a great shot from Puavaranukroh.
Service over.
Matching Ferdinansyah for that cross smash.
2-4.
Technically brilliant. You don't see the cross coming until the very last moment.
Yeah, and it was a sumptuous angle that he created with it too. Lovely touch. Lovely touch.
5-2.
Well, this is a really impressive response from the Indonesian pair, having lost the opening game.
Paewsampran did well there in defence. She was under real pressure. Oh, superb. What a turnaround, counter-attacking the way they did.
3,
First of all, Paewsampran.
Wipe
And
the
then
court.
Deshapol takes over.
Wipe the court.
Takes it so early.
Thank you.
It's quite fascinating how the females on both sides have got a very strong women's doubles background. Paewsampran was always on court playing women's doubles for years, but never quite got there. And equally, Ramadhanti, Apriani's Rahai's former partner,
5.
they were there. They were almost there to change at that sort of later stage of your career and to change discipline. It's quite surprising to me.
So the fight back's well and truly on. 5-2 down to 5-all now, as Puavaranukroh's stamina, as well as his technique, tested in that rally.
He is almost the model of, well, I think they call it plyometrics training, that sort of initial fast movement from base. There's almost nobody better in the world, and now Zhang Siwei is retired. He's probably the quickest man on a mixed doubles court to move sideways. Look at that, for example. He went from the tram line on the right to a round the head smash middle of the right-hand side of the court in one step. Just brilliant.
It does help when you can leap like that, doesn't it? Salmon-like. Look at that. Okay, bit of good fortune with the net cord, but kind of make your own luck sometimes.
Yes.
Service over. 6-all. Play.
Well, that was an opportunity squandered.
There's been a few of those today
Service
already,
over.
hasn't there? Some at the
7,
net, a few out the back.
6.
Great block from Ramadhanti. It was going across the body,
Service
which makes
over.
the skill that little bit
7,
more difficult.
all.
Being able to control the shuttle the way she did. Turning defense into attack. One good shot. That shot there, lovely.
Well,
Serves
her
over.
reaction after she missed that
8-7.
said it all. Should be meat and drink, really, for someone of her ability.
It is, and I think that frustration is sort of accentuated because she's missed a few of those now. Well, that's what they do best. If you could create a rally to describe how a pair plays, that was it. In a neutral position early on in the rally, working well as a pair, the ties, to get that opportunity. Well, you said it earlier, Trevor, that was Puavaranukroh in particular, making the opponent's court as big as possible.
Service over. 8-10.
Just outfoxed them in that net exchange, the Indonesians. Ooh, surprising, very surprising.
And how many have we seen today on both sides of the court? Any shot into that space was a winner.
So again, as it was in the first game, just a 1 point difference. This time the Indonesians with the slight edge.
Yeah, out of rotation here, the ties. Puavaranukroh at the net, but a bit of luck with the net cord again.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. Dayan, return to court. The chapel. Eleven, 10, play.
Oh, that's a bit of a gift.
11 all.
And much like the first game, there have been more than 1 or 2 points in it up to this point.
It's good from Paewsampran, but Ferdinansyah did well.
Service over. 12-11.
Got in a bit of a tangle there, the ties. I think Puavaranukroh expected his partner to intercept one shot, the penultimate shot.
Service over. 12 all.
Well, another net cord going in the Indonesians' favour.
13, 12. Change.
Let's see where Ferdinansyah played the smash from mid-court. Just the way he moves one way and the shuttle goes the other. Brilliant technique.
14,
It was the
12.
only shot hit with venom in the entire rally, and there was so much control all around. It was a really nice display of mixed doubles, just sort of prodding, poking, challenging for that attack. And as soon as he got it, like you say, superb finish.
And it's not easy when you're moving at speed to the left-hand side to then, in mid-air, play the shuttle in the other direction. Made it look ridiculously easy.
It's an incredible skill, and he's pretty much the best in the world at that particular task.
And again, such savvy play from Puavaranukroh.
12.
Yeah, he's got the mind for the game. He built the gap, he found it, and then executed it with such great technique as well.
Well, they needed that.
Over. 13, 15.
Just a bread and butter shot, really.
Yeah, it didn't actually need to be that tight. That's another example I was talking about earlier, where Puavaranukroh stood
16,
in front of the service line
13.
looking for the kill. Both of them here were queuing up at the net.
Yeah, they had the Indonesians exactly where they wanted them.
Seventeen, 13. Change.
A little bit late for Ferdinansyah, a shorter lift than he would have wanted, and another well-executed smash. Yeah, he's hitting that from inside that back tram Brilliant from Supisara. Oh, it's a great rally.
They just look the more
18,
composed, don't they,
13.
the Thai pair, in those kind of exchanges.
Yeah, the ability to cover the width of the court as well as they do, then squeezes their opponents and the space in which they get to play in. And with Puavaranukroh's wrist just at the very last second, finding the gaps all around the court, make it look so easy. There's another example, just that last sort of change
19,
of added pace.
13.
Short action on the racket swing. And Ferdinansyah stretched off balance, out of position.
Well, they had 12-11 at one point at Ferdinansyah and Ramadhanti. As you can see, the last 9 or 10 points been all one-way traffic.
Good defense again. Paewsampran getting the attack back.
And a solid smash again that earns the Thai pair 7 match points.
20, match point, 13.
It's a dream for Puavaranukroh. He's hit so many smashes from inside that back tram line.
Well, it became something of an exhibition in the end. It looked like it was going to be tight at one stage, but not a bit of it. They just went up a gear. Puavaranukroh and Paewsampran, and Ferdinansyah and Ramadhanti just had no answer. 21-13 in that second game. Very impressive display from the pair that took down the Singapore Open last weekend. This is the way it ended.
Yeah,
they knew, didn't they, the Indonesians, that the game was up a few points before this.
They did. The second half of game 2 was Puavaranukroh and Paewsampran at their best. And they got into that top gear, like you said, and it was sort of one-way traffic.
One-way traffic to the extent of 21-18, 21-13 in exactly 40 minutes on court. Well, a warm welcome back to Jakarta, and specifically the Istora here, legendary home of the Indonesia Open. And we've got some quite smartly dressed characters there. A lot of youngsters, as ever. And the crowds here at the weekend are going to be absolutely off the scale. So we've reached our second match of the day, which is another mixed doubles between Dhruv Kapila and Tanisha Krasto of India and Chen Tangjia and Toei Wei of Malaysia.